Have you ever sat in a meeting or a family gathering and realized that despite being the most qualified person in the room, you are being treated like an intern? You offer a suggestion, and the room moves past you as if you never spoke. Then, 10 minutes later, someone else says the exact same thing, perhaps with a louder voice or a more expensive suit, and the room erupts in agreement. You've likely gone home and felt that burning sense of social invisibility, wondering why your authenticity and hard work aren't being rewarded with respect. You are told by every motivational speaker on YouTube to find your voice or speak your truth. But when you do, people just look at you with polite boredom or, worse, pity. This is because the common person is taught to communicate for connection, while the sovereign communicates for positioning. You are being ignored because your language sounds like a request for entry rather than an announcement of presence. You are using the vocabulary of the helper when the situation requires the vocabulary of the governor. If you want to stop being the person who helps and start being the person who leads, you must abandon the amateur mechanics of the bass. I am Grace, and this is Trinity English Scholar. We are here to dismantle the scripts of invisibility and replace them with a high-fidelity governance system. This session, The Professional Path, is the bridge between sounding right and being right. Before we deconstruct the mechanics of institutional leverage, ensure you have subscribed to this channel and liked this session. This is the biometric signature of your commitment to the sovereign curriculum. For those who require the exhaustive technical documentation to support this transformation, I have provided the forensic PDF in the description below. Download it now to follow the high-density manuscript as we dismantle the illusions of the workplace. There is a question we will leave suspended until the final transition of this hour. If the hierarchy is a pyramid of words, what happens to the person who refuses to use the vocabulary of the base? The answer defines your trajectory from being a variable to being the axis. Before we advance, we must perform a clinical audit of the factual milestones we have achieved. We began by installing the hard floor, the non-negotiable requirement of downward inflection that signals the end of a thought and the beginning of authority. We then reinforced your acoustic profile with the phonetic anchor, stabilizing the sibilant S and the interdental TH to remove the high-frequency leaks of a shaky composure. Most recently, we executed the lexical purge, replacing the low-resolution adjectives of the common class with the categorical vocabulary of the elite. In our last session, we mastered syntactic compression, removing the because to create a logical vacuum that forces others to accept your axioms. Today, we synthesize these tools into a singular professional weapon: institutional displacement. Institutional displacement is the psychological maneuver of replacing the personal I with the systemic we, or, more powerfully, the abstract it. In the professional path, the person who speaks from their own perspective is a target for disagreement. If you say "I think," you are offering a target. If you say "the data suggests," you are hiding behind a fortress of objectivity. We achieve this through depersonalization, a linguistic mechanism where we remove the human actor from the sentence and replace them with a functional process. This creates an environment where your directives are no longer seen as your opinions, but as the inevitable requirements of the system. When you move from "I need this done" to "the timeline necessitates completion," you have moved from a request to a requirement. You have displaced your own fragile self with the weight of the institution. Scenario 1. A neighbor or acquaintance asks you for a significant favor, like borrowing an expensive piece of equipment or asking for free professional advice, that would drain your time and resources. The non-Trinity scholar: "Oh, I'm so sorry, I would love to help you with that, but I'm actually really busy this week and I'm worried that if I lend you my tools I might need them for a project I'm starting soon. So maybe check back with me next month." The Trinity scholar: "Current project commitments require the full availability of all technical equipment. Capacity for external lending is currently at 0. Maintenance of the current workflow precludes any secondary allocation of resources at this time." Our analysis is, the non-Trinity scholar is pleading for permission to say no. By using "I'm so sorry" and "I'm worried," They have turned a simple resource decision into an emotional negotiation. The Trinity scholar utilizes syntactic compression and institutional displacement. She never says "I can't." She states that the workflow precludes the favor. She has removed herself from the refusal. The acquaintance is no longer arguing with the person, they are being informed of a systemic reality. Scenario 2. You are managing a project and a major error has occurred that will delay a client's results. You are in a high-pressure meeting where everyone is looking for a scapegoat. The non-Trinity scholar: I think there was just a misunderstanding between the teams, and I really tried to tell everyone we were rushing, and I'm so sorry this happened, but I'm doing my best to fix the mistake as fast as I can. The Trinity scholar: the current latency is a direct result of an architectural misalignment during the integration phase. Internal warning protocols were bypassed by the legacy framework. Technical remediation is currently the primary operational focus. A full forensic audit will follow the restoration of the service baseline. Our analysis is: the non-Trinity scholar identifies with the mistake and uses "I," effectively volunteering to be blamed. The Trinity scholar uses categorical vocabulary and depersonalization. She replaces "mess" with "latency" and "failed" with "misalignment." She frames the solution as technical remediation, which sounds like a controlled, scientific process. She maintains the hard floor throughout, signaling that while the system is down, her authority is not. Scenario 3. You are interviewing for a promotion or a new role, and the interviewer suggests you might be too young or too new to the specific industry. The non-Trinity scholar: well, I think I have a lot of energy and I've worked really hard in my last few roles to prove that I can handle this, and even though I'm new to this specific area, I feel like I have a better understanding of the new tech than the older guys. The Trinity scholar: experience is often a proxy for historical adherence, whereas this role requires the execution of future state architecture. My track record is built on the systematic scaling of high-velocity teams. The objective is not to manage the existing framework but to displace it with a more efficient operational model. This transition ensures market dominance. Our analysis is: the non-Trinity scholar is defensive. By saying "even though I'm new," they are validating the interviewer's doubt. The Trinity scholar uses inference preemption. She redefines experience as a negative, historical adherence. She doesn't compare herself to others, she compares the company's legacy to her market dominance. She is not asking for the job, she is offering an inevitable solution. The resolution to our opening question, what happens to the person who refuses to use the vocabulary of the base, is now evident. That person ceases to be a component and becomes the architect. When you stop using the language of trying, feeling, and hoping, you stop being someone who is managed. You become the institution itself. 1. Adopt the systemic voice. Replace "I" with the nouns of the project or the goal. 2. Eliminate apology in refusal. A refusal is a statement of capacity, not a moral failing. And 3. Control the crisis through lexical precision. The more chaotic the situation, the more clinical your language must become. Your homework: review your last 5 sent emails in a professional or formal context. Count the number of times you used the word "I." Rewrite those emails by making the project, the timeline, or the requirement the subject of every sentence. Remove all because connectors. Ensure every sentence ends with the hard floor downward inflection when you read them aloud. I am Grace. We do not speak to be understood. We speak to be obeyed. See you in the next frame.